If I was a CryptoPunk holder, I would not feel very confident about where things are right now.
I'm going to sell the 50 ones that I have right now.
I just believe everything Charles says.
Where's your jetpack, Zuckerberg?
He's an avatar.
Speak for yourself, man. I'd love a frozen burrito right now in the Metaverse.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Diego.
And welcome to the Superist podcast, where we talk about what's hot and what's not in the world of Web3. And today we have, I'm going to say, one of the world's leading Web3 experts. Absolutely no pressure at all, Charles. But welcome to the show, Charles Adkins. Woohoo!
Woo!
Thank you guys so much. Yeah, happy to be here.
One of that together with Diego Ortiz.
Exactly. Well, you're actually the ex-VP at Polygon, and you're the current co-founder of NFT Thought Leaders. And actually, I'm going to say you're one of my favorite people to follow on LinkedIn who talk about Web3. So we're super excited to delve into the crazy world of what's going on in the Metaverse and NFTs. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I love the topic. I love everything we always talk about when we have a chance to chat. So, I mean, I'm excited to be here. We always have we feel like it could always go for hours. So we might as well just try to get in as much as we can.
Oh, absolutely. We've set aside 10 hours for this podcast, guys. So
yeah.
I don't know if we'll get halfway there, halfway through.
Definitely. Firstly, I'd actually just love to know, how did you even get into the world of Web3?
Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of been on the edge of technology in the space, especially digital marketing side. You know, I started one of the first digital marketing agencies in like the mid 90s. Yahoo was one of the first people I worked with. So always been kind of on the edge all the way through the mid 2000s into the Web 2 space. Did a lot of work also with Uber, Groupon, doing a lot of their marketing. Got into crypto maybe 2013, 14. NFTs 2017. I was an original Crypto Kitty guy, so that kind of makes me an OG. I have some stuff that's over 5 years old as an NFT, so that's kind of, a lot longer than most people. And then really, these past couple of years, especially, I had a lot of time, obviously, with being at home quite a bit, like most of us have, to read a lot of the blockchain white papers and really get more into the infrastructure and technology that underlies it and the way that blockchains work. And I'm just completely fascinated by it. So kind of became an obsession now. And I try to advocate for the technology itself any possible time I can.
I love that you read white papers for fun.
It's exciting. You never no, maybe it's not exciting, but honestly, like that's where you find the alpha sometimes.
I actually, the one curiosity I have is tell us a little bit about the punk that you changed your photo to on LinkedIn.
Oh man, yeah. So that's actually, this is going to be a controversial story here.
Oh, here we go.
That's actually that's a Polygon punk, and a lot of the people that started that gave me a bunch of those. I had an original CryptoPunk as well, and then kind of dove into what Larva Labs is all about, or as you call them, as we like to call them, the Big L. And man, I don't have the same belief system as what they have. So, I sold that off quite a bit ago. And if you look through my predictions for 2022 that I put out at the end of last year, I typically do like 10 to 15 predictions for the upcoming year. One of mine is that the CryptoPunks floor will be under $10,000 by the end of the year. So if I was a CryptoPunk holder, I would not feel very confident about where things are right now.
I'm going to sell the 50 ones that I have right now.
You should, man. Do it right now. Actually, do it after the Super Bowl, because I heard like around the Super Bowl, a lot of people are gonna be buying some.
Yeah. I heard that there's some NFT Super Bowl major things brewing. Yeah.
There's some big. I will tell you, around the Los Angeles area for the Super Bowl, there's going to be some pretty massive parties for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of them are. There's a couple CryptoPunks parties. There's a couple Bored Ape parties. We're talking like taking over like city blocks. Like they're going to be pretty massive.
Oh my God. I guess that's like part of the big thing because people always go, isn't it just a JPEG, which I'm sure you've heard a million and one times. But I guess it's really the community. And that's the thing that makes NFTs so valuable. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because we've got a bit of a mix of an audience tuning into us. So we've got some people who are really sort of well versed in the world of Web3 and other people who are just still wondering what an NFT actually is.
Yeah, I mean that's right. I mean, a lot of it has to deal with the community. I think when NFTs first came out, it just really showed that there's a different way for creators to earn revenue. And I think in all spaces, we've always seen that art and culture kind of come first, and then business always comes in second. And with Web 1, we saw that happen. Some of the first things that were in Web 1, the websites were a lot of kind of message boards where the punk bands would actually say which clubs they were playing at. And so it started out with musicians and artists like saying where that was like some of the original websites, quote unquote. Web 2, you had once a major artist or a major, musician got onto these social platforms, whether it be like Friendster, MySpace, any of those, and then into the Web 2 space on the mobile side as well, when some of them got apps, Ticketmaster got an app, and it always seems to revolve around art and culture. And now we're seeing this again with Web3 is they're building those communities around artists. They're building the communities around kind of inclusion and membership. And I don't necessarily like in real world membership models because they can tend to be exclusionary to certain groups of people. But I do think a little bit different now is that people have a mindset where whether you own an NFT or not, if you resonate with the brand and what it's about, they still let you in the community. I mean, there's, 10,000 Bored Apes, whatever it may be. There's 300, 400,000 people in their Discord. So like, they're obviously not excluding everybody. There are certain events that only holders can get into, but for the most part, like they're cool with everyone coming to have a chat with them.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think that concept of community is what a lot of people forget when they release an NFT project. So they think they can just, produce 10,000 images of, I don't know, cats in jumpers and then make millions of dollars and then retire for the rest of their lives. But they forget they need an audience to actually sell to and then a plan for that actual NFT project. So,
I mean, one of the questions when people come to me about their NFT drops, they want some kind of consulting work. I always say, and this was like the thing that happened with Metaverse, that drop that happened last year. They had 300,000 people in their Discord before launch. There's only a specific number that you can mint. So by nature of that happening, you're going to disappoint 95% of your community on the day that you launch. So my question is always, okay, you've minted these. Now you have 300,000 people in your Discord. What are you doing the day after the mint for people that weren't able to get one? Because they're going to be the most disappointed. So for those 95, 98% of people, if you have a gigantic six-figure community, you had better figure something out or you're going to lose them real quick.
Yeah, that's actually a fantastic point. I didn't even think of that because that's so true. Every time I've missed out on things, I'm like, sack this. I'll just move on to something else.
And you leave the Discord, right? You leave it. Yeah, you just sign out of it. And that's what happens every time. And that's what causes a lot of churn in these communities.
Do you think that at the same time, say, a lot of the brands that have been successful in this space are luxury brands because of the scarcity of being something exclusive? And of course, say for instance, if Rolex, if you're listening, Rolex CMO, if Rolex was to launch a collection today because of this exclusivity, it will probably be a successful project because they already have a community. They already have very loyal fans to the brand. They already have this sort of like a lot of people are fans of Rolex, but not everyone owns a Rolex. It's much like Ferrari. Like there are a bunch of people walking with Ferrari hats, but do they actually own a Ferrari? So do you think that luxury brands have had a lot of success in this space because of that feeling of exclusiveness?
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of luxury brands have, especially the ones that create wearables. So like Metaverse wearables, they're getting a lot of good traction in the space. And I think it's just like in real life. It's like you said, like somebody wants to wear that hat. Somebody wants to flex that they have that watch. Like it's the same thing in the Metaverse. Like people
absolutely
want the cool stuff to wear. Like if that's where we're going to be spending a lot of our time. And then we see this in kind of like even like a crossover way when you're like watching Twitch streams. Like you'll see a gamer and maybe they'll be wearing something luxury. So like,
Yeah,
it's not a
absolutely.
full metaverse, but it is an influencer wearing something on screen that we're not like fully connected to. So I mean, it's just humans are humans.
Yeah,
Like they love
yeah.
scarcity. They love to be the ones that have something that some people don't. That's just the nature of how we are.
I actually, if you don't mind, a follow-up question to that, which will be, I've
Yeah.
seen thought leaders in the space say that brands shouldn't create their own project, but they should engage with existing projects or other blah blah. And I've seen a lot of people saying the opposite, that brands have the ultimate advantage, which is, you know, a community that follow them already, loyal fans, and so do influencers, right? The massive influencers today in platforms. A lot of these projects try to, you know, bring these influencers on board because, of course, they bring the community with them. What do you? What are your thoughts on this? Like, is this uh, the main advantage today for companies to jump in and start a project of their own based on, like you said, their brand values and products and value proposition, or should brands engage with existing projects and develop a relationship with this community?
I mean, I've kind of seen it both ways. I think it's important for brands to know where they're fitting in the space. I think if it's a consumer, like a luxury brand or a fashion brand, I think 100% they need to at least be looking at the space, because wearables is going to be a big deal. Where I have a lot of disconnects is where we have like food manufacturing companies trying to get into there. I just have a real hard time with that. And I will tell you, like, there's one that I talk to on a regular basis. They're trying to get into the space, and it's just back and forth. Like, how do we do this without looking like a cash grab? And really, there's not one, because that's exactly what it looks like. I mean, there's no reason that everybody in the metaverse needs a frozen burrito right now. Like, it's just
Hey,
not going to
speak
happen.
for
So,
yourself, man. I'd love a frozen burrito right now in the Metaverse.
well, yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I mean, so like the big verticals in the space that should be in there, at least getting an idea about it. Obviously, gaming,
Yeah.
gaming, fashion, automotive. Like, you've got to be in there because, you know, eventually when we get into these metaverse spaces and we're driving around fake cars, like somebody's going to want to drive a fake Ferrari for sure. Like, you have to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think brands have to have a really good idea of what they want to do with it. And then there's brands like, you know, Chipotle and others out there that if you buy a certain amount of NFTs, or if you've engaged with their metaverse property X amount of times, they actually are able to airdrop you like coupons and vouchers for free real life food. There's ways for everybody to get involved, but I do like your idea as well. Like, I really think there's a lot of brands that need to partner with existing communities that are really well known, like the Artifact and Nike. Like, that was a big deal. Pixel Vault with Adidas, like, that's a huge deal. And I think, yeah, it just gives them a little bit more credibility with the community to start off with. I think they should at least consider partnering with major artists in the space.
And what we've seen as well, I think Lisa has seen it pretty well, is that a lot of times that brands try to break through this space by themselves, they end up failing pretty hard as well, right? Like, very unsuccessful launches, things that, like you said, sometimes chips away the brand image, right? And has the opposite effect. So yeah, 100%, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, there's been a lot of failures. Luckily they disappear really quick because the news cycle's so fast. But yeah, there's been some bad ones.
I think there's going to be even more this year, unfortunately. So, but at least brands are giving it a go. One thing I do want to talk about is, you mentioned earlier about your crazy predictions for 2022, and I love that you're not afraid to actually share your opinions, even though they might be controversial. And one of them I thought was quite interesting was the potential demise of OpenSea, which is currently the world's biggest NFT marketplace, which has some crazy valuation. Can you talk about why you think they're going to absolutely fall off a cliff this year?
Yeah, I mean, there's competition in the space, obviously, that's going to be coming in. LooksRare's made a big push. I mean, outside of just competition coming in, I think they're not focusing on product as much as they should. UX, UI issues. They're not really covering their bases to keep users protected. They're not really even covering artists who mint projects to really keep them protected either. But I think, you know, we've got Coinbase and Kraken, Crypto.com, LooksRare, all these other marketplaces coming into the space that have a very heavy product focus on what they're doing, and they're very easy to use. And then we've talked about this before about I don't think marketplaces are going to be the end all be all anyway. It's going to be Instagram or another photo app that is directly mobile on your phone that you pull up some artwork that you made or a photograph that you took, you single mint from your phone, you can transfer back and forth to your friend. It's going to be one of those things like it's just like NFC or like Apple Pay. Like I'm going to be able to send you an NFT just by holding our phones together. Like it's going to be that easy. So somebody like OpenSea, yes, they have a huge valuation, but if they don't focus on product and focus on what's going to be happening in the next, 8 to 12 months immediately, they're just not going to be around. I mean, I've said I've seen this in Web 1. Like right now, they're making all the mistakes that Netscape made when they went out of business. Was they thought they were so huge, nobody can touch us. I mean, LooksRare is pretty much killing a good portion of their business, and they've only been around for what, 45 days? I mean, and they had no financial backing other than the users, because obviously they share that as a decentralized platform. But you get somebody like these major businesses come in. Coinbase, I think, Coinbase with their focus on product and the way they streamline things, and then dropping an NFT marketplace, making it easy for users to on-ramp. I would be scared to death if I was anybody that had a marketplace.
Yeah, look, I think with OpenSea, I know that I've read a lot about how they've got horrendous customer service, and even like functionality wise, I mean, the UX is a bit of a pain in the butt, to be honest, because I've used it before. But even things like being able to share NFT purchases, like I'm surprised people aren't really doing more of that. So integrating the ability to say, if we wanted to go and buy I don't know, Bored Ape or something together to allow that functionality, I feel like that could be something that they should be looking at doing. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to go this year, but I believe you. So if you've got shares in OpenSea, get out.
I mean, just a lot of times this is what I try to do is it's not that I hate OpenSea as a brand, but I do always call attention to it, because hopefully somebody out there from OpenSea will listen to this and just say, hey, look, like, this is what people actually think. Like, take the feedback and like prove me wrong. I mean, that would be awesome. And that's why I make like really bold predictions, because most of the time they're with big holes and opportunities that I see in the marketplace that somebody needs to fix. So if they fix them and I'm wrong, perfect. That just means you fixed the problem.
And that makes perfect sense.
I don't care if I'm being wrong. I'm old enough to not care if I'm wrong anymore, because I've been wrong hundreds of times every year.
But that makes perfect sense, because I feel like and I really agree with you. It's not hard to see how the pieces fit together. You mentioned, for instance, Instagram. We know that social media is most definitely going to go through a massive change, where it's going to become more of a social commerce sort of like platform, where you purchase stuff directly from social media and stuff. And so if you know that that's the next step that is already being implemented, many brands are already testing it, it's already happening, it's not a futuristic 10 years from now, and you then take into consideration the integration with blockchain, you just look at the signs, right? Like I think Facebook, Meta, I think Mark Zuckerberg just said that the metaverse now is a bigger priority for them than WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook is. And you see that happening in any other major brands as well today. So it really is obvious, right? And like you said, a year in this space is a long, long time. So if this is something that takes too long to be implemented, I 100% agree.
Well, then, I mean, there's the other like gigantic elephant in the room, the fact that Shopify has an NFT platform.
Yeah,
like,
insane, isn't it?
Okay, Shopify originally based on letting people like me, you, anybody create their own marketplace. Yeah. Now we're talking about like every individual creating their own marketplace. I mean, Shopify could be that person. I mean, they already allow people to build their own e-commerce, so that's the same thing.
Shopify, I remember I met an executive from Shopify when I was in Hong Kong, and he said that Shopify back then is known amongst them as the Amazon killer, right? Because pretty much was saying, what the natural thing to happen is for people to own their data, to own what happens in their store, to own, not be in a marketplace where people, are checking your product, but then they go and check. So, Amazon has more to gain than the people that are in Amazon, right, selling on Amazon. So, it makes perfect sense. And now, with the decentralized market and a decentralized marketplace and, integrations with these new technologies, it just makes perfect sense. It's just, it's... I believe you. I believe you, Charles.
I just believe everything Charles says, to be perfectly honest with you.
I mean, that's terrifying, but no.
I actually want to know what your thoughts are on Meta. So, the new Facebook, because I know Diego. I don't know if Diego's he's not a massive Zuckerberg fan, but I know that their share price, their share price just massively plummeted.
I also have I'm sorry for interrupting, but I also have my my own idea. I think that the Zuck was actually created in the metaverse, and he managed to project himself into the real world. I think that he's not a hero human being. So I just want to put that prediction out there in case it's revealed and I'm right.
He's an avatar. He's transcended to the real world.
He's pretty he's pretty close.
He kind of looks like a little avatar. What do you think about that? Because I think the value of the share dropped. I think that the value of it dropping is more than the GDP of Greece or something. It was just
200 million in 24 hours. Or I'm sorry, 200 billion in 24 hours.
So he's poor. He's poor now, so someone might need to lend him some money. But
I mean, I have so many thoughts on that. I mean, my real thoughts on this, just coming from my background in finance as well, is that he knew that these users are leaving by the droves from Facebook in general, Facebook and Meta. A lot of them, a lot of the demographics are super old. They're getting older, and the new users are not coming on there. Their stock's been getting beaten up for probably 6 quarters, 8 quarters. And he was probably thinking in his head, all right, well, I'm going to come out and say that we're shifting our focus to the metaverse, and we're going to call this Meta. And that's going to help revive the stock for maybe, 10 years. Because really, to build something that big, that probably gives them a good 5 to 10 years worth of excuses to why the stock's not performing. I think he really underestimated the fact that no matter if you change the name and you're going to do something new, having 200 million users or 20 million, I think it was 20 million users less than the quarter before. I don't care what you've done with your business. That is a very, very bad sign. And shifting into the metaverse, I think we know that if they ever pull it, I think it was an excuse to save the stock price, which backfired. Now they're going to be forced to follow through with it. The problem with that is we all know they're a very centralized data warehouse. So it just gives them more data points in which to monetize from people. I mean, that's how they do things now. It's free to use because you're the product, right? We've all heard that. And now it's just going to be you're the product and you're in 3D. And now we know what your grandmother's house looks like because, you're walking around in this metaverse kind of place. So to me, it's just super creepy. Now they're building the fastest supercomputer. By June, it'll be the fastest supercomputer on Earth. To supposedly help render out the metaverse, and still I just don't think they're going to make it. They might be able to pull it off. I do think they could probably build a pretty immersive AR VR system, but I don't believe it will ever be on a decentralized blockchain.
I think, though, one good thing about Facebook going to the metaverse is that it really made the term mainstream, because I think before that people, you sort of heard it, but you didn't really know. And I know maybe I'm just in a Web3 bubble now, and I think everyone's talking about Web3 and they probably aren't. But I feel that at least now the majority of people would at least have heard the term metaverse, and then eventually maybe this year NFT if Instagram go down that path, which it sounds like their CEO sort of said or made indications that they're at least looking into it. So we've got the Zuck to thank for that, at least.
The Zuck.
Thank you, Zuck. Love you.
Where's your jetpack, Zuckerberg?
Don't mind Charles Zuck. You're my hero. No, just kidding. And I honestly, looking at a business perspective, do you think, Charles, that Facebook will, Meta will inevitably, and like many other companies, one thing that I was reading this article the other day that says that one major revolution that is coming is data privacy, right? With all this that is happening with blockchain and NFTs and the metaverse and such. Do you think that maybe the Zuck can redeem himself, let go of his current business model based on selling us to everyone else and vice versa, and instead focus on, again, a social commerce platform? For instance, if he's creating, I remember a long time ago, Facebook had already mentioned that they were going to have their own token, right? Do you think that there's still a possible shift, a drastic shift in this business model that has helped Facebook to grow into what it is today?
I think they could, but I think the big thing that shackles most of these large businesses are shareholders and the expectation of shareholders. And
Absolutely,
when I
yeah.
was at NFT NYC, I had this conversation with Tom Bilyeu, and he actually had a really good point. He was, he's saying um, what people need to understand and what businesses need to understand is that there's not going to be a trillionaire at the top and a lot of other people that make an average amount of money. You're going to have to your business is going to be a lot more flat and a lot more horizontal. So, maybe Facebook shares go down, the company's not making 600 billion, whatever billions of dollars it is in revenue every year, but all of the users have actually now been able to make six-figure salaries because of shared and decentralized finance. Yes, you've made all of the users in a much better financial position, but you yourself, your stock price may not be as great because the profit margins just aren't there. So I think it's having shareholders and being publicly traded is what people are fighting against, that because to every single quarter, if you're chasing revenue, by nature of how that system works, you're not going to be able to be successful in a decentralized platform. I think if he could redeem himself and just say, look, we need to spin this off private, we need to take things off of the public market, decentralize things. I think literally you could make half of the users on Facebook make over $100,000 a year just from that ability to decentralize that revenue stream. I don't know if he'll do it, but I think that could actually be a very global shifting type of a move if somebody wanted to do that.
You could get a call from the Zuck soon, so I'd keep your phone open.
I'm open for the phone call. Yeah, call me anytime.
Or slide into his DMs if you're listening. Zuck, slide into Charles' DMs.
Don't worry, Charles. He already has your phone number and he knows where you live. So don't worry. He'll not.
He knows
he does.
What your grandma's house looks like.
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, he's gonna have to DM my mom through Facebook to get a hold of me because I'm not the one that's on there.
Yeah, look, I think interesting times ahead for Facebook, but I think at least hopefully he's made it a little bit more open to other people being keen to enter the metaverse. I just want to actually quickly talk about blockchain because I know that you were at Polygon for a little bit, and I personally feel like the way I'm going to die is by gas fees because I'm bloody sick of paying them and they're sending me broke. So I actually just wanted to get your thoughts on blockchain because a lot of people, firstly, don't really understand what it is and still think it's a scam. So can you just talk a little bit about, I guess, what exactly blockchain is? I don't know if you can summarize it in one sentence, but yeah, talk a bit about how you think it's going to change the world.
Yeah, I mean, blockchain, I'm trying to think of the most simplest way to explain what it is. Instead of relying on trusting somebody, the trust is built into it. So you don't have to, you send your information somewhere, you have to trust that the person running that computer is inputting it the correct way, doing the right things. Everything you do on blockchain is cryptographically and decentralized, cryptographically proven and then decentralized across a number of users. So you don't really rely on trust. Trust is built into the mathematics. So that's the simple way to kind of explain blockchain. In a practical term, I'll give you a practical use case. One that I really love is Soon Water, which is built on Hedera Hashgraph. They built IoT devices that connect to the water supply. They monitor and test the water every 15 minutes for purity, and that automatically writes the results directly to the blockchain. Alternatively, what that replaces is one guy with a clipboard that goes out and tests the water, who I could probably pay $100 to write down whatever result I want on a piece of paper. And now you don't have to rely on the trustworthiness of that person to actually do that because you have a piece of technology doing that, and then it's proven and made immutable by mathematics. So that's a very real world use case that's not NFTs and it's not some crazy cryptocurrency. It's in cities right now. So that's very basic real world terms on how you can utilize a blockchain. Yeah, the gas fees are nightmarish on Ethereum, and that's just because of the proof of work consensus, and it's just the mechanics on which they verify their blocks. They pay rewards to people that are doing those transactions through their systems, and right now what's happening is there's a lot of people that are consumers of the Ethereum blockchain, and there's not enough people participating in the infrastructure. So there's not enough people acting as validators. There's not enough people running their own node. So you've got 500,000 cars that want to get on a highway, and maybe only 100 people are pulling the lights on that highway. Like, it's just the infrastructure is very low, and the users are getting higher and higher. So people need to actually participate in the system, or the gas fees are just going to keep going up.
What do you think is going to happen to Ethereum in 5 years? Like, do you think something's going to come and be bigger than Ethereum, or people are just going to keep building on Ethereum, like layer 2 solutions?
Ethereum 2.0.
Yeah, I think Ethereum 2.0, they've already dropped the name because the PR around it's so bad. So now they're calling it the consensus.
The consensus. That's like a horror movie.
Yeah. So now it's called the consensus, and it's been pushed back to Q4 of this year, supposedly. I have doubts that tech's ever going to actually get pushed through. Maybe it will. I mean, which would be great. But I do think we're going to end up with several blockchains, and then just like a CCIP, like a cross-chain interoperable protocol that like works with all of them, which is basically like a www but for blockchains. So you're going to be able to do your transactions, go on different websites, and it's going to feel very seamless, even though they're all written to like use case specific blockchains. I think we'll have blockchains that are better for security and currency. We'll probably have blockchains that are better for just being ledgers and accounting and just record keeping. I think we'll have a lot of different blockchains for different use cases, and we'll just have a protocol that connects them all.
Do you think that comparably, it could be compared to, say, a programming language where things are built on? So for instance, for websites, it's everyone uses HTML or whatever it is. It pretty much becomes that widely accepted and used on every single technology out there.
Totally, and I think we need to have kind of a because again, like unified programming language is another issue. I mean, you've got all the Ethereum, the EVM compatible blockchains building on Solidity. You've got some that are on Rust. You've got Flow, which is written in Cadence, which is a totally different programming language. So I mean, just some kind of unification. Everybody's just like driving in their own world right now. So if we could just get them all kind of together, which I think Chainlink is working on, is probably the closest to getting right. They're working on an interoperable protocol, and I think they're getting pretty close. So I think that's when things get really exciting. When all these chains talk to each other, now we're basically going from dial-up internet into like high-speed internet.
Well, do you have any other questions, Diego? Can I have the last one?
No, I just one little comment. Apparently, Fortnite has 350 million active users now, and Twitter has 290.
Oh my gosh!
Jesus!
So they've overtaken Twitter.
Actually, on the topic of Twitter, I do want to talk to you about something, because I hate Discord so much. I look at it,
and because you haven't been on Twitter.
So, look, I actually don't like either of them, to be honest. Like, I prefer LinkedIn.
Burning bridges with every single social media platform.
But I'm gonna get off of this podcast, and all of my accounts are gonna be gone off of everything by the time I'm done talking about this.
But it's so funny to me how I feel that Twitter and Discord have just become these unofficial, social media platforms of choice for Web3. I'm like, why? It's so hard to use both. But why do you think that is?
I mean, it's just like, being in a vacuum all day. Especially on Twitter, obviously the way the algorithm works, it's going to build up where it makes look like you're talking to all people that are just like you. So I think on Twitter, we just get really stuck in that vacuum. Discord, I think a couple of the big projects started using it first. And then it just became like this thing where it's like, oh, you have to have a Discord if you're going to launch an NFT project. And I think we've talked about this before where, I talked to someone at Discord. Well, originally they said, we're going to launch Web3 tools for Discord. Big like uprising from the user base. They hated it. And so then they pulled it back immediately. They're like, okay, just kidding. Like, we're not going to do it. Yeah. And so like,
April Fools.
Yeah. And so I talked to somebody at Discord, and they're like, yeah, like we went through the data, and basically only 0.7% of our users even talk about or even use NFTs. So like, we can't change our whole product based on 0.7%. But like, the people like me, you, and Diego, like, Discord is the only place to go because every community is there. So I think we're just really thinking with a very just a very closed mindset that that's the only option we have. I mean, I do think there needs to be a platform built that's a little bit easier for the UX UI. I mean, I'm just in project launches this year. I mean, I've just seen people get scammed left and right. If you open a DM and you connect and sign something in your wallet, like you're just done. You're over. Like they're going to take your whole wallet. It's just very dangerous. And I think moving forward, it's dangerous because I've already talked with brands that like major brands that they do not want to use Discord. And they've said it specifically, like, we don't like the UX UI, we don't like the security, it allows for too many third-party bots. So if any major brand is going to get in the NFT space and people think they're going to use Discord, like, it's just not going to happen. Like, they just don't want to build their community there. The downside is there's Discord on one side, which is really difficult to use and very niche, and then all the way on the other side there's Facebook groups, which is like the complete opposite of it. So there's not really a good medium of building community with a good UX UI that has brand safety. It just doesn't exist. So see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I actually just worry for the, I guess, Web3 industry as a whole, because like you said, there's scams on Discord. Like there's so many NFT scams. I think OpenSea said, I don't know, like 80% or 90%, some ridiculously high number, projects that get launched are all scams. So I think there's, I think if you just keep reading that, you just think it's a scam, like Web3 does, it's a joke. And that's what I'm sort of worried about, because there's going to be obviously people who take advantage of people in any space, but I don't know why in this particular space. I feel like there's just so many. So I hope it doesn't deter brands and people from trying to dip their toe in. And I think they just have to do research and just make sure that they, spend the time and don't just jump in.
Yeah, it's a message I always tell brands is like, try not to lump in NFT and blockchain technology with crypto degens. Like, it's a totally different mindset. There's people that believe in the technology and believe in the artwork that's behind NFTs, believe in the community behind NFTs. And then there's people that are literally degenerate gamblers that day trade crypto all day, day trade NFTs all day.
Diego, is he talking about you?
who's set in like Discords and try to DM people and see if they can scam them out of NFT. Like,
literally, Diego.
Hey.
Yeah, just take.
Don't bust my side hustle here, Lisa. Jesus.
Just remind me not to get in any Discords with Diego or open any DMs from him.
I'm not going to tell you my username. Don't worry.
I'll find it out.
Definitely don't open any DMs with Diego. You'll 100% either get scammed or see something that you don't want to see.
Excuse me, I am the guy that gets scammed, okay? You got it wrong. I'm the guy that is over-enthusiastic about stuff and buys into everything, okay? Excuse me.
Well, then maybe there's a couple DMs I need to send you then if you're that easy to work through.
Sounds like an interesting business proposal you have for me. Yeah, 100%.
I'm like, just open this and sign this. If you sign this transaction with your MetaMask, it'll do something really cool.
Definitely, Charles. If you want to make a quick dollar, definitely just send Diego a DM.
Oh, perfect.
And again, I feel like this is I don't know if I'm, I don't know if I'm seeing this wrong, Charles. You're of course, you can tell this with absolute certainty if I'm wrong or not. But this is also where I see that brands have a major advantage, which is now, at least now, they can spearhead the creation of these communities. And, I know that a majority of these groups don't like really being managed and moderated. But like you said, I don't know, maybe a minimum level of security or, like moderation. I don't know what would be the perfect level of it. But again, starting these communities and attracting like-minded people and having people participate, engage, and uplift the same community, I think it's, again, a major opportunity for brands. And in case of Discord, it's just so weird, right? Because like you're at the forefront of a digital revolution, right? Like people literally are calling it the Web3. Like, it's just absolutely major. I feel like it's like a Kodak sort of like situation again, like digital cameras come in, you're like, nah,
it'll be fine. People are still going to film.
Business is films, like.
I think they got so much pushback because their alternative audience to NFTs is gamers, and gamers notoriously hate NFTs. Like, they absolutely hate them.
They hate them.
And it's because I think a lot of it, they hate them. And I think it absolutely has to do with, it's that speculator mentality. I've talked to a lot of gaming studios, and they're like, the gamers don't like them because now we have people in there that are just trying to play the game and do the grind mechanics to earn the token.
To capitalize.
And so if they earn the token, they don't really want to play the game. They don't really want to like make the game better. They're just there to get their token and then leave.
Ruin the community, right? Because in gaming, the community is everything, right?
Yeah, they're everything. It's everything. So like, I don't blame them. I can see where they're coming from. I just think, and that's why I really always try to talk about that separation of like, take a look at what the technology can do. And yes, eventually gamers, like, they're smart. Like they are able to get all speculators out eventually. And they typically just stand strong. But yeah, I mean, speculators and some of that kind of behavior is really kind of rough on the market. I think for big brands, I think a lot of them get a little bit scared by that.
Yeah. As as an excellent gamer that I am, world renowned, I do understand that, but at the same time, I feel like, if you're doing something, whatever it is, just for the sake of earning money, it instantly sort of like loses the magic behind it as well. I think that a lot of these people that now are earning good money with NFTs when linked to gaming is because they legit like enjoy playing the game, and they they've made this into like an insane life opportunity, right? Which unites passion with financial possibilities. I've seen like Steam, right, the gaming platform, pretty much battling NFT gaming because it's an inevitable. At some point, I really do believe. Here are my projections. Listen up, the Diego projections after Charles projected.
Here they are.
I believe every game in 5 years or 10 years, whatever it is, but are going to become NFT-based games. Like in some way, every single game is going to be a play-to-earn kind of game, because right now, and what probably scares a lot of these, AAA studios for game developers, is that a lot of their revenue comes from centralizing loot boxes and blah 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 and marketplaces and all that kind of stuff.
100%.
Right? And so NFTs is pretty much like giving power to the people. You play, you earn, right? It's your time, it's your money that you get back, and not theirs. And so Steam has been battling that kind of like revolution, which I think is inevitable. A lot of these gaming platforms as well. And I think it's a matter of time that any gamer today, whatever game it is that they like, will start seeing like, if I love playing, Counter-Strike, how come I can't earn for my time here if this guy is earning on that other gaming platform or whatever it is that he's doing?
That's the thing. They're in there for hours and hours and hours, and the type of advertising they have in there is like, they have in-game advertising, they have like product placement. So it's like, if you're going to walk around in there and be subjected to advertising, like the user should be benefiting from that.
Okay, so we're going to catch up in 5 years to see if Diego's predictions right, and then Charles, your predictions about Ethereum are right.
I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you exactly why Diego's predictions are 100% correct.
Oh,
and I'll tell you why, because
there you go.
So the reason every single game will be listed on an NFT is because every single payment system will be on a blockchain within 5 years. So you won't have to convince them, because there will be no other option.
Okay. I feel like the calls are just going to be bigger and bigger on this episode.
Dude, I'm gonna save this recording. I'm gonna 5 years from now, I'm gonna pull Gary Vaynerchuk. Like, I told you this 5 years ago. Here's my video.
Do the side by side.
Yeah. And you can just cut this footage for Charles just going, Diego's prediction is going to be right, and then you can just stick it onto the end of any prediction that you make.
Exactly. Yeah. And now I'm gonna say the opposite, just so I can for sure get my predictions right. NFT is gonna be dead 5 years from now. Listen to what I'm saying. Remember this recording. There, done.
I totally agree with Diego, by the way. I agree they're going to be dead. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Don't edit the clip. Don't edit the clip.
So Charles, just before we finish up, we just want one last crazy prediction that wasn't in your list of 15. Just tell us something crazy that's going to happen this year.
Oh, crazy that happens this year. I mean, I think we're finally going to get a really solid mobile, some kind of a mobile NFT app that's actually going to work. I think that's a big deal. I think the other thing, like what you're going to see an explosion of, is NFT ticketing. Once we get back to in-person, NFT ticketing is just set right on the verge to just absolutely explode.
Fantastic. So yeah, I'm hoping someone buys me that Coachella NFT. That'd be great. Diego.
Oh yeah.
Diego, you owe me a birthday present. There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna buy in the shady markets that I buy in my Discord channels. Don't worry. Okay, you are a very original one.
Coachella with a K. I'll be like, hang on a second, this doesn't look good.
Yeah,
Coachella, which is like a coach, like a coaching meeting.
Exactly.
You know?
I'll bloody organize my flights. I'll rock up and I'll be like, here's my Coachella NFT. It's like that's spelled with a K. I'll be like, yeah, Diego gave it to me.
There you go.
Dodgy.
Diego sent it to me in a DM.
Yes, sent me in a DM. Bloody Diego. Well, thank you so much, Charles. Honestly, we could literally keep talking for hours and hours and hours. But we'll have to have you back on as an official friend of the show. And then I'd actually love to get you on at the end of the year to go through all of your predictions to see.
Oh, let's do it. That'll be awesome.
How you tracked and then hear your predictions for 2023, which will no doubt probably just be around the corner because this year's already going so fast. But thank you so much for making time to join us. We'll put all of your handles in the show notes. We'll put your DMs as well if you want to like DM Charles, definitely slide right in there if you've got any questions or scams. But thank you so much, Charles. We're really excited to continue. We're really excited to continue to see what you do in the space. And I can definitely say you all must follow Charles on LinkedIn. His content is amazing. So we'll see you soon, Charles. Thank you.
Thank you both. Good talking to you again.
Thank you, Charles.
Bye.